My name is Clara Whitmore. I'm 34 years old, and 3 days ago my fiancé tried to put our engagement on pause so he could think clearly. What he didn't know was that I had already thought everything through that morning, sitting alone at our kitchen table, staring at the proof that quietly ended our relationship hours before he ever asked for space. Ethan and I had been together for 3 years, engaged for 8 months. We met through work, different companies, same industry. Marketing conferences, shared panels, awkward small talk that turned into drinks, then something steady and warm. Ethan had always been charming in an effortless way, the kind of man who made people feel heard, made me feel chosen. We moved in together after a year, got engaged last spring, set a wedding date for next October. I told myself I was lucky, that we were solid, that love was supposed to feel calm once the excitement settled. About 2 months ago, that calm started feeling like distance. Ethan was suddenly always tired, always busy. His phone never left his hand, and when it did, it was face down. He'd angle the screen away when I walked past. Networking events started running late. Dinners with colleagues stretched until midnight. When I asked about his day, he'd give me fragments instead of stories. Enough detail to sound convincing. Not enough to feel real. I noticed everything. I just didn't say anything. Last Thursday morning, he left before me. Rushed. Half-dressed. Distracted. He kissed my forehead and said he'd see me tonight. Then the door closed. His tablet was still on the kitchen counter. I wasn't snooping, that's the truth. I picked it up to move it somewhere safe, and the screen lit up. Messages synced across devices. A name at the top I didn't recognize. Lena R. The preview line read, "Last night was exactly what I needed. Thank you for understanding me in ways she never does." I felt something cold slide through my chest. I opened the thread. 3 months of messages. Flirting that turned into emotional confessions. Long paragraphs sent late at night. Inside jokes, complaints about me, how I didn't get him, how he felt more alive with her. Plans disguised as coincidences, coffee that became dinner, dinner that became drinks, drinks that always happened on nights I thought he was with coworkers or friends. The worst part wasn't the intimacy, it was the consistency, the time, the intention. The most recent messages were from the night before. He'd told me he was having dinner with a colleague named Mark. The messages told a different story. Goodnight texts. A conversation about when they could see each other again. Him saying he needed to figure out his situation with me. I sat at that table for 20 minutes without moving. Then I took photos. Every message, every date, every lie. I didn't cry, I didn't scream, I documented. When Ethan came back around 8:30, I was drinking coffee like nothing had changed. "You okay?" he asked. "You look tired." "I'm fine," I said. He kissed my cheek and left again. I called my sister Naomi, told her everything. She didn't hesitate. "End it today," she said. "Don't let him rewrite this." I didn't plan to. That entire day I prepared, quietly, methodically. I called the venue, the caterer, learned about cancellation windows and refunds. I packed a bag and dropped it at Naomi's place. I changed passwords, removed shared access where I could. I didn't confront him because I needed clarity, mine, not his. By the time Ethan came home that evening, I was ready. He sat across from me, not beside me. His hands were shaking. "I've been thinking a lot about us," he said. "About the wedding, about whether we rush things." I watched him carefully. "I think we should pause the engagement," he continued. "Just for a few weeks. Take the pressure off. Figure things out." He looked relieved when he said it, like he thought this was a clean solution. "How much time do you need?" I asked. "I don't know. A month maybe." Space to decide if he wanted me or Lena. I didn't say it yet. I just nodded. And that was the moment he thought he was in control. He had no idea the engagement had already ended that morning, the second I saw his messages, and realized I had become an option in my own relationship. I let him finish speaking. Then I took a breath, and I said his ex-girlfriend's name out loud. His face changed the instant I said her name. Not confusion, not curiosity, fear. "Lena," I repeated calmly, "the woman you've been texting for 3 months. The one you were with last night when you told me you were having dinner with Mark." He went pale so fast I thought he might be sick. "What are you talking about?" "I'm talking about the messages on your tablet," I said. "The ones you forgot on the counter this morning. The ones where you tell her she understands you in ways I never do. The ones where you say you're falling for her." He stood up pacing, running a hand through his hair. "You went through my private messages. You left your device unlocked," I said. "And before you try to make this about boundaries, let's be clear. This is about you having an emotional affair while planning a wedding with me." "It's not what you think," he said quickly. Too quickly. "We didn't sleep together." I tilted my head. "That's your defense." He stopped pacing and looked at me like I'd slapped him. "Clara, I was confused. Things between us felt distant. Lena just listened. It wasn't supposed to become anything. You didn't accidentally text her for 3 months, I said. You didn't accidentally meet her for drinks. You didn't accidentally lie to me about where you were. He sank back onto the chair. I didn't mean to hurt you. You meant to keep me, I said quietly, while you figured out if she was better. His eyes filled with tears. That's not fair. What's not fair, I said, is you asking for a pause, so you can test drive another relationship while keeping me on standby. He opened his mouth to argue. I didn't let him. I called the venue today, I continued, and the caterer. I packed a bag, I talked to my family, and yours. His head snapped up. You what? They're on their way, I said, glancing at the clock. They should be here in about 10 minutes. He stood again, panicked now. Clara, please. We don't need to do this in front of them. This is private. You made it public when you lied for months, I said. I'm not letting you rewrite this as a mutual decision or a rough patch. Please, he said, voice breaking. Let's talk alone. The doorbell rang. He froze. I stood up. They deserve the truth, I said, and walked toward the door. When I opened the door, both sets of parents were standing there together, coats still on faces tight with confusion. My mother looked worried. His mother looked startled. His father already seemed irritated, like this was an inconvenience. Thank you for coming, I said evenly. Please come in. Ethan stood frozen in the living room, his hands clenched at his sides. The moment our parents saw his face, red blotchy eyes glassy. Something shifted. My mother's gaze flicked to me. His mother's brows furrowed. What's going on? My mom asked. You said it was urgent. Ethan opened his mouth. I didn't let him speak. The wedding is canceled, I said, because Ethan has been having an affair. Silence fell so hard it felt physical. That's not Ethan started. For 3 months, I continued, with a woman he met at a conference. I found out yesterday when I saw the messages. His mother stared at him. Ethan. He looked down. It wasn't physical. His father's voice snapped. What does that mean? It means, I said, he's been emotionally involved with someone else while engaged to me, lying about where he was, who he was with, making plans with her while planning a wedding with me. Ethan's mother shook her head slowly. Is this true? He whispered. I was confused. I pulled out my phone. I have screenshots, I said, if anyone wants clarity. Ethan looked at me pleading. Clara, please. I handed my phone to my mother first. She read in silence, lips pressing together. Then she passed it to Ethan's parents. Watching their faces change, shock, disbelief, disappointment hurt more than I expected. But I didn't look away. You told her you were falling for her, his mother said quietly, her voice trembling, while wearing the ring Clara gave you. I didn't know what I felt, he said weakly. You knew enough to lie, I said. You knew enough to ask me for a pause so you could keep your options open. His father stood up abruptly. Enough. Ethan, grab your things. You're coming home. Dad, now. Ethan looked at me one last time. I never meant for it to end like this. I know, I said. You meant for it to end quietly. They left soon after. His mother glanced back at me, eyes full of regret. His father didn't. My parents stayed a little longer. My mother hugged me. My father asked if I needed anything. I just need time, I said. That night, I sat alone on the couch until nearly 3 a.m, staring at walls that suddenly felt unfamiliar. At some point, my phone buzzed. A message from Ethan. I'm so sorry. Can we talk tomorrow? I didn't reply. Friday morning, my phone was already vibrating when I woke up. 17 missed calls, 1 voicemail. I listened to it once. Ethan's voice cracked through the speaker, thick with tears. He said he'd made a mistake, that he'd never meant to hurt me, that Lena didn't matter, that what we had was real and he was terrified of losing it. I deleted the message before it finished. I took the day off work. Not because I couldn't function, but because there were things that needed to be handled while my head was clear. I called the venue again and finalized the cancellation. The caterer kept part of the deposit. I didn't argue. It felt insignificant compared to what I'd avoided. The apartment was the bigger problem. 6 months left on the lease, too many memories pressed into every corner. I called the landlord and told him the truth. He surprised me with kindness, said we could work something out. Around noon, my phone rang again. This time it was Sophie, one of Ethan's closest friends. I didn't know, she said immediately. About Lena. I swear, Clara, if I had. I believe you, I said, and I did. Thank you for telling me. You deserve better than this, she added quietly. At 3 p.m, Ethan showed up at the apartment. I'd expected it. I opened the door, but didn't step aside. You have 5 minutes, I said. Thank you, he whispered like I was doing him a favor. I'm not, I replied. You're here to get your things. He looked around the living room, eyes lingering like he was memorizing it. What we had was real. It was real to me, I said. You turned it into something disposable. I was confused. Stop saying that, I said sharply. Confusion doesn't text another woman every night. Confusion doesn't plan secret dinners. You made choices. He stepped closer. I am choosing you now. You don't get to choose me after I caught you, I said. That's not love. That's panic. He tried to argue, tried to bargain. I started packing his things into bags, slowly, deliberately. After a while, he helped in silence. When 3 bags were lined up by the door, he looked at me one last time. I really do love you. If that's what your love looks like, I said, I don't want it. He left. That evening, I changed the locks. The quiet that followed wasn't peaceful. It was surgical. Over the next few days, I removed every remaining thread that still connected Ethan to my life. Shared accounts, subscriptions, passwords, anything that gave him access to my world gone. It wasn't done out of spite. It was done out of clarity. Silence, I learned, is only effective when it's complete. A week later, a message came through from an unfamiliar number. Hi, Clara. This is Lena. I didn't know about you. Ethan told me he was single. I'm so sorry if I hurt you. I stared at the screen longer than I meant to. Then I replied. He was wearing my ring in every photo from the last 3 months. He never once suggested meeting you publicly. Never posted you. Never made plans in daylight. If you didn't question that, you didn't want the truth. She never responded. By the end of that week, the landlord finalized the lease break. 1 month's penalty. Worth it. I moved into a smaller apartment closer to work, lighter, quieter, untouched by memories that didn't belong to me anymore. For the first time in months, I slept through the night. 3 weeks later, Naomi called me. You're not going to enjoy this, she said, but I think you'll appreciate it. Ethan and Lena hadn't lasted. According to mutual friends, once secrecy was gone, so was the thrill. Without stolen moments and whispered justifications, there wasn't much left. 6 weeks. That's all it took before he ended it. I felt nothing when I heard. Not relief, not satisfaction, just confirmation. About a month after the breakup, Ethan tried one last time. A new email address, a long message about therapy, about fear, about how he sabotaged things because commitment scared him. He asked to meet, to explain, to apologize properly. I didn't respond. Naomi asked me later if I was ever tempted. No, I said, and I meant it. He didn't want me. He wanted not to be alone. I started dating again, not seriously, not recklessly, carefully. I paid attention now. To distance, to secrecy, to the small shifts people hope you won't notice. I wasn't cynical, I was informed. It's been 3 months since Ethan asked for a pause. 3 months since I gave him all the space he wanted permanently. I ran into his mother at a coffee shop 2 weeks ago. She looked embarrassed, but came over anyway. She apologized. Said she wished things had turned out differently. Said Ethan was struggling. I hope he figures things out, I told her. And I meant it. Just not with me. People ask if I'm over it. I don't think over it is the right word. I'm past it. The anger faded into something quieter. Indifference. Ethan is someone I used to love. Someone I used to know. Someone who showed me exactly who he was when he thought I wouldn't look too closely. I learned that when someone asks for space, they've usually already chosen it just isn't you yet. I learned that evidence matters. Truth matters. Witnesses matter. Most importantly, I learned that I'd rather be alone than be someone's backup plan. Ethan wanted to pause our future while he explored other options. I ended it instead. My name is Clara Whitmore. I'm 34 years old, single, living in a new apartment, and building a life that doesn't include someone who made me an option instead of a priority. I didn't get the wedding I planned, but I also didn't get the marriage that would have broken me.